Good morning, it's Leanne Peters here. I'm from templeofbalance.com.au, Temple of Balance on Facebook and Temple of Balance on YouTube. And I am here to share some guidance and pull some cards for this week ahead. That's this week starting Monday the 30th of August through till Sunday the 5th of September. So we're shifting months this week, which is exciting. It's always opportunity to bring some fresh new energy in, but I think every day is also offers that potential. So welcome. So while you're coming in, I want to send out an extra special welcome to my Temple of Balance patrons, my Pillar of Light family, and all of those of you who support my work through my website. Thank you so much for your support. Your support helps me be able to keep bringing these sorts of videos out to you and out to others. So thank you so much for your support. If you're new to watching, welcome. Please let us know if you're new. What I'm going to be doing today is using my combined deck of cards here, my Speed of Light Oracle with my Animal Kingdom Oracle cards. And these cards have been combined together to create 110 card deck. So with this 110 cards, we'll be able to get some really juicy information out for this week potentially. The more cards you work with, the less likely the cards are that come up. So the smaller your deck, the more likely the cards are to come up. So I love working with these big decks. They're quite revealing, and it's extra special when you get repeat cards and things because of that large quantity of cards that we're using. There's more here than a tarot deck, which is usually 78 cards. So very exciting. I'll be using these cards and laying them out here next to me, looking for the best cards for this week ahead. I'm not doing personal readings or anything for individuals. This is general guidance for everyone. So I trust that you've been led here for a reason, and I trust that something shared will be helpful and supportive for you. So as always, please think of this as a guide only. Please take on board what feels right, what resonates, and what fits into your life easily. The things that sound like I'm talking just to you, they're the things that I really encourage you to work with and take away from this, because it's no accident that you feel that way. I get messages all the time from people that feel like I'm just talking to you. So you can trust in the things that do resonate and do speak to you. So while I'm shuffling, let's have a reflect back of last week's theme. Our theme, we've got a cat walk past, she's teasing us. Our theme last week was about boundaries, and I think actually that was quite appropriate. Now I look back also on the week, is that we've had to be really strong about the energy that we will invest in and focus on, and the energy that we will just not invest in or focus on. So we've had to really almost, I don't know if discriminate's quite the right word, but we've almost had to differentiate between what we want to focus on, what we want to invest our time and energy in, and what we don't. And that choice is really important for our own sanity to be able to function at this time. Also, there is still the week before's guidance for the theme for the week is still in effect, because it was a 4-month kind of theme. I forget what the dates were, but it was 2 weeks ago. So we're about 2 weeks into a 4-week theme around clearing private issues. So this is a really important time for healing and clearing those things that we've been dealing with privately. So let's get ready to pull some cards for this week. It's a beautiful late winter's morning here. I'm coming to you live from Tasmania, Australia, and it is Monday the 30th of August, and it is 10:21. I'm a little later coming in today. So, shuffling the cards, holding the intention that I want to find the best cards that the majority of us need for this week ahead, starting Monday the 30th of August through to Sunday the 5th of September 2021. So the best cards for the majority of us are these. Okay, and I'm just going to duck down here and lay these out face down, and then I'll turn them over. Hopefully they won't blow away. Okay, and I've just laid them out. They're not in any letter or anything this time. So let's turn them over, see what we've got here. Okay, we have one featured card, which is the lunar cycle card that I was talking about the theme for a couple of weeks ago. So it's come up again, and it has further instructions here which say to take the second card from the top of the deck. So we've got this as our second card. Oh, expanded love. Yes. Okay, we'll talk about those guys later. Let's pop the deck away out of the wind. Okay, we have quite a lot of cards here for this week, so let's get straight into it. Starting the week around Monday the 30th of August, we have the Peacock, card 15, and the Peacock says increasing self-confidence. So there is something, a new power I feel that I'm feeling here from the Peacock, and I feel some of us have been tapping into a new power, and I don't know if power is quite the right word, a new sense of strength in ourselves and who we are, hope for the future, which I'll definitely talk about later, that's going to be coming up. Just this new sense of maybe stability or contentment or optimism that things may actually work out when we didn't really have much hope in previous weeks and months. So there is this growing sense of power or confidence or strength. I'm not sure exactly the right word, like I say, but that energy feels like it's growing, and a lot of us are tapping into that at the moment, and especially at the beginning of this week. So think about where or what you're feeling unconfident with, or what you're feeling powerless about, and how can you turn that around? How can you turn that challenge or that obstacle into an opportunity? What is the strength that you can summon to get through what you're facing right now, especially at the beginning of the week? There is also a growing sense of confidence here to step into things this week, especially new things, and from what I'm just generally seeing here, is also stepping into our shadows and our fear also this week too. So it takes strength to face these things. It takes courage to be able to face the unknown and step into the dark parts of ourselves and our life. It takes courage to face uncertainty in our life as well. So there is this need, it feels like, early in the week to allow our confidence, our strength, our courage, our power to grow. So we can work with the power of our breath to help increase our confidence too, and make sure that we've got our mind on board, that our mind is supporting and focused on what it is that we're doing, even if we're not sure if we're capable or we're not sure if we can do it. Okay, let's see if we can keep reassuring ourselves to face things as courageously as possible. Also early in the week, which is likely also around Monday, but also perhaps into Tuesday, the end of the month, I want to say. So Monday into Tuesday, we have the Fiddler crab, card 46, and the Fiddler crab says, be on guard. Be on guard, but don't be paranoid. You know, because sometimes we're on guard and we just like become this really paranoid person. So let's be careful we're not paranoid about things, or we're not obsessive about things, especially early in the week. That we have perspective as well. We might find some of us need to or want to keep things close to our chest, a bit guarded early in the week, especially as we're getting clear about what it is we want to do or how we really feel about something. You know, like sometimes it takes a few days, maybe even a few weeks, to sit in with a raw state of feeling that we have and determine what that feeling actually is. So, you know, it can take a bit to find those words. So while we're finding the truth of how we feel, or while we're working out what we want to do with things, we can keep that feeling a little guarded or a little close to our chest if we need to. Let's not be too hasty or fast moving in, you know, pushing things if we're not really clear yet. The cat is here, but she is wet. So I'm not picking you up to say hello. Instead, I think she's going to sit all over the cards. So she's walking past now, hopefully. Off you go. Okay, so let's talk about the new month. It's Wednesday. Wednesday, the 1st of September. And Wednesday we have this card, 34, called Healed. And it says golden light, wounds, blocks, and dissolve. This is about physical healing. So this is especially appropriate for some of us on Wednesday who may not be feeling well in our body. So this is the physical healing card. So if you're not feeling well at the moment, or if you're not feeling well on Wednesday, this is about allowing the time that you need to let your body heal. You may need to seek advice or expert opinion or assistance from experts in the field of health, if that's what you need. But it feels like our body's probably going to need some rest time and some healing time, especially on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I'm just trying to keep on my cards underweight so they don't blow everywhere. On Thursday, so this is Thursday the 2nd of September, and we have the Tree Maiden, card 42, the Tree Maiden. It says endings, surrender, growth, and illumination. This card usually comes up when there's something intense that's happening and something amplified. It may feel like some things are under the magnifying glass. It can feel like things are being blown out of proportion too when this card comes up. And I've also had it come up recently, amplifying something that was a really good new beginning. So it doesn't always bring endings, is what I've recently realized, but it can also bring intense and really appropriate new beginnings. So let's allow this amplifying energy to reveal to us what we haven't seen before. Because when things are under the magnifying glass, it's so we can see things better. And maybe we didn't see what we needed to shift or move out of previously. So when things are blown out of proportion, it can be very overwhelming, but it's actually, in truth, an opportunity for us to see something we didn't see before. So let's see what we need to see in this amplified situation so we can close the doors we need to close, open the doors we need to open. But what is promised too from this energy around Thursday is growth. Allowing ourselves to grow and become a better version of ourselves. Not better than others, but a better version of who we were yesterday or who we were last week. So let's allow this growth to occur by letting us see what is being amplified, what is being magnified, what is being blown out of proportion, and what is the truth underneath that amplification. So things might feel like mountains, but they may just actually be a molehill. Might just be a little anthill, but it feels like a big mountain of an obstacle. So let's also keep perspective, especially around Thursday. Okay, so then we move into Friday. Friday, what is it? The 3rd of September, and we have the sea eagle. Not the seagull, it is a sea eagle, the white-bellied sea eagle. And it's card 29, and it says reconnection. So on Friday, we're being encouraged, or it's a very favourable day to plug back in, to reconnect with what's really truly important to us. This card keeps appearing every other week, it feels like. So I've talked about this quite a bit, fairly regularly, not each week, but it feels like every 2nd or 3rd week it keeps coming up. Just reminding us about that plugging in and how important it is to reconnect with the things that are important. As things change and as things are very intense, we have to keep sort of reassessing our priorities and working out what is our new most important thing. So working out our priorities, what's important and what we're focusing on. Because sometimes we spend way too much time focusing on the things that just aren't even really that important, or aren't important to us, or aren't important in the grand scheme of things. So getting your journal and writing a list of your priorities and how and what you're spending your time doing or thinking about will help you most likely get some perspective of what you're focusing on. So what do you need to reconnect to? And another tip is to notice what you're feeling disconnected from. Because when you know what you're disconnected from, then you have an idea of, well, hopefully a starting point of how to reconnect. So what do you need to reconnect to? The key will likely be in what you're disconnected from. Have you been feeling disconnected from yourself, your relationships, your life, your work, your meditation practices? What have you been feeling disconnected from lately? Your body. And how can you reconnect again? How can you make time? Usually it's about making time for these things that we've been disconnecting from. How can you make time to nurture your relationships? How can you make time to look after the health and the care and the nourishment of your body? These sorts of things. So around Friday is really important for reconnecting. Okay, then Saturday. So what is it? Saturday the 4th of September. We have these two cards have come up for Saturday. So we have a featured timing card, which is card 53. It's lunar cycle, and it talks about 1 month. So basically a lunar cycle. So this is in effect for about 1 month's time for Saturday the 4th, and it's connected with this card, which is 24, expanded love. I love this. It says productivity, teamwork, and holding space. But there is something very hopeful about this energy. And I talked about it in a video I did on Saturday about it felt like there's a bright future ahead, a new sense of optimism and hope for the future that I even personally hadn't felt before that. But it keeps reappearing these last few days, is this hope, this optimism that there is actually a bright future ahead. Can we really believe everything that we're being shown or told? So what if things look brighter for our future than we realise? So this sort of affirms that sense of optimism for our future. So for the next 1 month, we're moving into a highly productive period. So from about the 4th of September till the 4th of October feels to be quite productive. A great time to work with teams, work with other people, work on projects. It's a great idea to come together with people who have a common interest or a common interest. I can't think of anything else right now. A common interest in something. To come together to help expand the world. So this illustration, it's two figures here coming together in love for a common interest, a common intention, and there are like their arms like wings wrapped around the earth. This is the earth as I saw when I drew it. So as we come together, as we do things that we feel a strong purpose about or a strong passion for, it actually helps raise the vibration of the planet. Although that should not be, I don't feel, our prime incentive is to make the world a better place. I feel like it starts closer to home. When we do the things that we're passionate and feel passionate about and purposeful about, that's closer to home, the things that we are responsible for, then that helps lift the vibration of the whole. So we are co-creators, if you like, in this world that we're creating. But there is, like I said, this sense of optimism and hope for the future, which I think is really encouraging at this time. So that takes us to Sunday. Sunday we have two cards. Let's talk about this sky first. It's Shadow, card 36. And it says shape-shifting, hidden, release, and Raven. This card has been appearing a bit too lately. And it talks about our shadow side, our fear, our worries, our concerns, our insecurities, the things that we feel are dark and gloomy around us or within us. And this brings highlight to that so that we can bring light into that dark place. And I've talked about this quite often, but I'll talk about it again. This is one of the artworks I did that I felt intense emotion creating. And I could feel the darkness, and I could feel it brewing and bubbling as I was creating this. These pupils felt like screaming faces. And then it all started to change as I was drawing. So the light started to come in as we trust more in ourselves, and we trust that things are going to work out okay. And we trust that it's okay to feel that darkness, that shadowy energy within us, because it is a part of who we are. And how can we bring the light into that darkness? Quite often it's about understanding what the darkness is about. What are we so scared of? What are we afraid of? Why do we feel so limited? Why do we feel so insecure? Why do we have this wound? And facing it head on, heart on, so we can heal it, bring light into it, and keep moving forward. So there is a shift potential here for Sunday as we find courage to face our inner darkness and bring light, bring knowledge, bring awareness into it. But the key really here is to trust in how everything's unfolding. Now, as we shift this, it might take more than the day to shift this for some. But I feel like it could actually move quite quickly, especially on Sunday. It feels to be like we might wake up, we might even have maybe even Saturday night where this darkness starts to creep in. And it might be quite difficult to sort of move through. But it feels like there is potential for this to move very quickly, which is great. It doesn't feel like it's going to hover unless we let it hover. That's the weird thing, I suppose, about this energy, but also the good thing, because if we're aware that we're letting the darkness hover, we're letting our wounds or our fears hang about, they're going to stay. So the key really is to let it move. So our feelings, remember, want to be in motion. They are emotions. So as we feel the darkness and we feel our way through it, we admit to ourselves that I'm angry, I'm frustrated, whatever we're feeling, we let that energy move. And there is great potential to shift and move this energy to transform it. I feel really excited about it, actually. The potential in this darkness is huge. So we will need to face this part of ourselves, face this part of our lives that we need to come to terms with, or we need to accept, so that we can bring the light in and transform that darkness, so it's no longer this hovering personal dark cloud that we just walk around with all day long. Let's let it blow away. Let's let it move. Let's give ourselves permission to heal from this and to move forward from this. So if we can do that, we also have this card coming in for Sunday, but it feels like it comes and follows after this. So this may even come up for Saturday night for some, or Saturday or Monday. It may come up around that sort of Sunday. And it feels like as it moves in and we face it, it moves out potentially very quickly, and this comes in its place. Risk-taking, card 27. And it says, journey, new beginnings, unknown, confidence. So this is about taking a risk and following our heart. It's hard to feel our heart when we're hovering and hanging about in that dark energy and the fear. It's very difficult to feel the heart energy and to be able to move forward. So as this subsides, as it wanes, it feels a bit like an eclipse actually moving out, like an eclipsing energy moving out, where the dark and the light's revealed from behind the darkness, behind the shadow, and this energy moves out just like an eclipse, and this comes in. So we're being encouraged very much to take a risk, to follow our heart. Those of us like myself who live in a purposeful way are constantly taking risks. I'm constantly taking risks. I'm constantly stepping out of my comfort zone. Even when I have a blank piece of paper on a canvas that I'm about to create on, I have no idea what I'm going to create 99% of the time. So just making a mark is a risk for me. It could be the wrong mark if I overthought it. It could be totally wrong, but if I think of it in that way, I'm never going to make any mark. So, we need to be constantly, daily, taking little risks out of our comfort zone to push ourselves so that we can create, that world like this, of hope and optimism, coming together for that common interest. If we're too scared to take a risk and have an interest, we're really going to be missing out on potentials that are there to help us grow and help us expand and see an optimistic future or optimistic potential. So there is confidence in this. We started the week with confidence, increasing self-confidence, and we're ending the week with increasing confidence. So there might be challenges to our confidence throughout the week or in between those goalposts from the start to the end of the week. But we're starting and ending the week with this confidence as a theme. So in between, we may waver, we may shake, we may feel completely raw and bare and exposed and unconfident. But it's through that feeling too that we can let our confidence arise. We can let it birth itself. So new beginnings, stepping into the unknown as a consequence of our courage to face our darkness and our shadow and bring light and awareness and understanding into the dark parts of ourselves. So what are your wounds? What are your dark parts? And admitting that to ourselves is really important so we can understand. Understanding also brings light in. So there are our cards for this week. I trust that resonates. You won't really know until you go through the week. So there might be some things that sort of speak to you initially, but I really recommend you come and connect with the video again throughout the week to get your bearings and see how things fit as you flow through the week. I am going to pull a card for our theme. So I'll just grab the deck out of my basket, ready to go. Before I do, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. If you have enjoyed this connection, please hit the thumbs up button. Please show us some love. Please comment or share if you're inspired to. And if you would love to connect more privately, please visit my website or contact us through the website. So this week we have the launch of my Speed of Light Oracle cards. These have just been reprinted. Pre-orders have already gone out, so hopefully yours are starting to arrive. And the big launch for this deck is on Wednesday, the 1st of September. It's at the Speed of Light Oracle Facebook page. Actually, Speed of Light Oracle cards. I think it's got cards in it, but it might just be Oracle. I can't think right now. Facebook page. So please go over and like the page if you want to. I'm doing giveaways in games. We're doing videos. Lots of things all day long on Wednesday. It may be Tuesday for you though if you're in the US, for example, because it's Australian time Wednesday. So please have a look if you're inspired to, if you want to play with us. And if you want to pre-order or order, it's not pre-order anymore. If you want to order your own copy, we now have decks of the Speed of Light available. And we also have the Animal Kingdom cards available too. So check them out on my website if you're inspired to, or on my Facebook page there. And if you want to learn more about me and the work I do at Temple of Balance, please visit templeofbalance.com.au. So, what is the theme card? The theme card is the most important card for this reading today. What do we need to know for this week? How or what's going to be the bigger picture? Looking for the bigger picture in these readings, but also in life, can be really valuable. Sometimes we get too close and personal that we can't see the bigger picture. What is the bigger picture for your current situation that you feel burdened or troubled by? Is there a bigger picture that you can let yourself see? So the best theme card for this week, Monday the 30th of August through to Sunday the 5th of September, is this. It is a Speed of Light Oracle cards. Yes, drum roll indeed. It's this. It's the Yogi. Okay, I've been talking about this. It says 32. Oh, sorry, it doesn't say. Or it does say 32, but it's number 32. It's the Yogi. This is one of the cards I have updated a bit. It says Epiphany. Learn, lead, and comprehend. In other words, understand. Which I've been talking about a lot, especially for the weekend. A new level of understanding about something. This is what also the big picture offers us. Perspective, which then allows us to understand something that we hadn't seen from that angle before. So this is a different angle, different perspective. It's understanding. It's the epiphany. It's the penny dropping, and just in that moment we're like, yes, now I see why that happened, or why I needed to go through this, or what I've learned from this situation that happened. It's the penny dropping. And so there is potential for that this week, especially being the theme. Especially if we have the courage to look at our wounds, our darkness, our fear. Fear wants us to run. It wants to keep us small. It wants to keep us limited. It wants to keep us scared. So we run from it because it is overwhelming and scary and daunting. But fear, what if this fear is not as big as what we think? What if we actually turn and face this demon of darkness, this fear we actually see, and we have the courage to do that, which means we're building our strength. We turn around to this fear instead of running, and we see actually this fear is nothing. This fear is not that big of a deal as what I thought, or it's not as scary as I thought. So let's stop allowing our fear to keep us small and to keep us running away from the growth that sits behind the fear. Because I know for me, if I feel fear or resistant to do something or whatever it might be, if I feel scared about something, I might feel scared for a little bit, but then I increase my confidence, I increase my courage, and I turn around and I face the fear, because I know from experience that the fear is covering something that's amazing on the other side. It always does. Resistance covers something. So resistance and fear try and keep us small and in a lower place. If we can build our courage this week to face it, to understand it, to see it in a different light, from a new perspective, we may see that actually this fear was just some heavy theatre curtains that we can part and walk through and see what's actually on the other side. But we will need to take a risk to do that. We will need to take a risk and follow our heart to increase our courage and confidence, because if we don't feel that, we're going to keep running. We're going to keep avoiding things that are scary to us. So let's allow ourselves to understand things on a bigger, deeper perspective, a broader perspective this week. Let's find the courage to turn around and face our fear and see what happens when we stand tall and face it instead of running from it. There is also an element of this card about learning and leading. So learning new skills if you're studying or you want to study, very favourable for that this week, but also leading the way for ourselves. Leading the way. I see us as individuals holding our sword of truth, building our courage with the fear behind us, and then when we feel ready, summoning that courage, turning around and almost like slaying a dragon that is that fear, and proving to ourselves that we can do it. We don't have to prove to anyone else. We just want to prove it to ourselves that we can step out of our comfort zone. Oh, there's a bee and he's got pollen all over his legs, and he's sitting here right on the phone next to my microphone jack. Wow. So using our time efficiently too this week. So the yogi is our theme. Thank you so much for joining me today. I trust that you've enjoyed this connection and you've received something helpful and beneficial for you. Thank you so much. If you have received something helpful, please consider supporting my work through my website. My work stays here because of you and people like you. So if you resonate, please go and have a look on my website, see if there's a meditation that speaks to you, a pendant or a card deck, some artwork or something that you resonate with, because your support is essential in helping me be able to do my work. So thank you so much. Happy birthday, happy anniversary if you're celebrating this week. Take care, have a fantastic week ahead, and I will see you soon. Namaste. Oh yes, the bee was right next to my microphone. Oh no, it's not. My microphone's up there actually now. But thank you.